Seattle hides a secret beneath its streets. Today, it is a modern city filled with skyscrapers, businesses, and busy neighborhoods. But underneath all of that, there is another version of the city, one that most people never see. To understand how this happened, we have to go back to the year 1889. At that time, Seattle was a fast-growing city in the Pacific Northwest. It was an important port, and people were moving there for work and new opportunities. But there was one major problem. Almost the entire city was built out of wood. The buildings were wooden. The sidewalks were wooden. Even parts of the streets were made of wood. This made Seattle extremely vulnerable to fire. On June 6, 1889, everything changed. The fire started in a small woodworking shop. A worker was heating glue over an open flame, and somehow the glue caught fire. What began as a small accident quickly turned into something much worse. The flames spread rapidly. Because the buildings were so close together and made of wood, the fire moved from one structure to another with incredible speed. Strong winds made the situation even worse, pushing the flames across the city. Firefighters tried to stop it, but they faced serious problems. The city's water system was not well prepared. There wasn't enough pressure in the pipes, and in some cases, the water simply couldn't reach the fire. As the flames continued to grow, it became clear that this was no ordinary fire. It was a disaster. For hours, and then for an entire day, the fire burned through Seattle's business district. Entire streets were destroyed. Buildings collapsed. Shops, warehouses, and offices disappeared in the flames. By the time the fire was finally under control, a huge part of the city had been reduced to ashes. More than 25 city blocks were destroyed. Thousands of buildings were gone. The damage was enormous. And yet, there was one surprising detail. No one died in the fire. It was one of the most destructive urban fires in American history, but somehow, there were no recorded fatalities. Still, the city itself had been nearly wiped out. Seattle had a choice to make. They could rebuild the same way as before, or they could do something completely different. And they chose something unusual. Instead of rebuilding the city at the same level, they decided to raise it. Before the fire, Seattle had another major issue: poor drainage and constant flooding. The streets were often muddy and filled with sewage. It was unhealthy and difficult to live in, so after the fire, city planners saw an opportunity. They began rebuilding Seattle several meters higher than before. New streets were constructed above the old ones. Brick and stone buildings replaced the old wooden structures. The city became stronger, safer, and more modern. But here's the strange part. They didn't remove all of the old buildings. Instead, many of them were simply left where they were, below the new city. This created something completely unexpected: an underground city. The original ground floor of many buildings became basements. Old sidewalks, storefronts, and passageways were still there, just hidden beneath the new streets. At first, people actually used these underground areas. Businesses operated there. People walked through them. It was still part of daily life. But over time, problems began to appear. The underground spaces were dark, damp, and difficult to maintain. There was little light and poor air circulation. Eventually, these areas became associated with crime and unsafe conditions. The city decided to close them off. And so, the underground Seattle was abandoned. But it didn't disappear. It remained hidden beneath the modern city. Today, parts of this underground world still exist. There are tours that take visitors below the streets of Seattle, where they can see the remains of the old city. You can still find old shop windows, doorways that lead nowhere, and pathways that once were busy streets. It feels like stepping back in time. Seattle is not just a city that survived a disaster. It is a city that rebuilt itself, literally on top of its own past. A city above and a city below. And most people walking its streets today have no idea what lies beneath their feet.